Hey, it's Chris, Liege Games. What are we doing? It's October, one of your favorite videos of the month. We're doing the look back hype. Where are they now? A year later. Crowdfunding, October 2021. Was it as big as you remember? It actually was. I did not have a hard time picking out games. We're talking about 11 games right now because you know I love talking about them in the first place. 11 games that were relatively big that month that are in the process or processes or already fulfilled. How do we feel about them now? Was it worth it? Do you feel good? Do you not feel good? Is it a good spend money? Is it bad spend money? What do you need to know? Everything in between. Let's do this. We gotta get hyped up here. Gotta take a swig because doing a lot of talking today. So first up, right here, Tidal Blades #2. Druid City Games. I got a chance to play it. I put out a video on it during the campaign. Everything that you needed to know, went through it. Nice combo action system, scenario-based, Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, spiral bound, flipping open the pages notebook in terms of the, crawl area. Did really well. Really a lot of high expectations on that one. A little extra scenarios, a little extra deluxifications. That was the big problem with the first Tidal Blades, right? That it was sort of, why get it now apart from the deluxifications? And if you didn't want the deluxifications, it was a lot cheaper on the secondary market later. And that's okay. But, how do you choose to support things? Where do you put your money in terms of deluxifications? For me, after I played it, I said, that was probably one of the biggest turning points for me lately, has been scenario-based, campaign-driven games. You know what? I see them being hyped all the time lately. All the time. So many chances. This one is the best one doing this. This is the best one doing that. You know what? I don't care if they're the best one doing that because I have too many already and I can't get more of them anymore. I just can't. And that was one of the ones that made me really realize that I need to be very selective in terms of it. Even if I like the mechanics, is it going to hold up? And can I freaking get it played? That's the problem, right? So let's check where things are at right now. So, Rise of the Unfolders. Lay Pledge apparently is still open. I haven't clicked the link to actually find out if that's true because, if you've gone on any of these crowdfunding pages later, sometimes they still have the link up there, but it says you click on it and it's closed. Anyway, almost $1 million. The pledge level for the base game, I forgot that they even included an RPG with this, was $89. The upgrade was going to be $20 more with the free promo scenarios. I don't know what else to say. It's there. What do you need to know about it? Yeah, it's a game that has a nice different combo system in terms of putting down the cards and, collecting them this way and this way and this way and chaining them in terms of actions. I don't know. Let's see where things are at though, because this wasn't supposed to be delivered until June 2023. So we're still about 8-9 months out if things were even on time, let alone the usual crowdfunding delay. We go over to the updates here, just two brief updates. The last one is well over a month since the previous update at the time of me filming this, so I would imagine there's going to be one coming soon. The RPG PDF, they say August delivery for that one, so the PDF of it was ready, but they say in the previous August update here that things are pretty much on schedule, which means June 2023, so take that for what you will. Pre-campaign, before I sort of had that revelation, I was probably like an 8 on this one. This was one of my top 10 at the beginning of the year, 2022, when I did that video in January, looking at all throughout the year, the top 10 games that I was most interested in. This was like the top 5, one of the top 5 there. And now, that's probably an 8. It's probably a 3. Not because I think it's going to be a bad game, not because I don't think I would like it, but just because, again, I can't get it played in the context of having all of these things just as a normal player, not even now including the stuff I'm doing review style for the channel. I mean, it just doesn't do that. It just doesn't lend itself as well. And I'm okay with that. I'm finding my niche, I'm finding the things that I like, and I'm finding things that I like that I can also play, because I would love a copy of this, but will I get it played if I just pick it up myself? Probably not right now. So would I be open for a review copy? Absolutely. Would I be open for playing it at some point in the future if I can trade for it? Sure. But right now, we'll see. We'll see where things end up. So there you go, Tidal Blades. So next up, we're going over Gamefound here with the next couple. Too Many Bones Unbreakable. Too Many Bones freaking Unbreakable. The last in the lines of the Too Many Boneses. I have my Too Many Bones copy right here. You can't see it, it's just out of camera shot. But where are things at with Too Many Bones? I mean, this was to be the one adding new mechanics, adding new depth, a great entry point potentially as, a next step up in the Too Many Bones cycle of things, but also a lot of just additional content that make the value absolutely freaking amazing. Went into this one, the teeter-totter was swinging and it was going back and forth and I was going, oh, geez, what do I think? Oh, well, let's do it. I'm going to pull the trigger. It's going to be like root and I'm going to do it. And Let me tell you, it was like Root. I've played this a few times. I don't like it. It's not for me. It's not for me. It's not. There's too much minutia. There's too much rules overhead. It's a lifestyle game, and people love it for what it is, but it's not a widely, easily accessible game. And for all the reasons I just mentioned with Tidal Blade, this basically exaggerates all of that stuff to an nth degree. And so for me, pre-campaign, probably an 8 or 9. This is again was one that was on the top 10 list of all year long, of the beginning of 2021. I think I said 2022 earlier, but now I'm a 2. I'm a 2. I'm gonna sell my pledge. I'm gonna sell. It's all locked in. I've paid for it already. I'm gonna make a slight maybe bit of money on it, but it was too late to kind of do anything with it by the time I realized that this was not it was not suited for me. I'm okay with that. I'm looking to get rid of this, and so I'm looking to get rid of the other two. And so eventually, after it arrives, I'll do that. But in the meantime, I'm just sort of stuck with it. So this one will be on my top crowdfunding games that I regret doing. So yeah, those tend to be popular. People like watching other people's woes, right? So I'll put one of those out in the near future as well. Where are things at, though? Because you're not here to hear my woes. You want to know where things are at. And this one blew a lot of their other campaigns out of the water because a lot of people got in. A lot of people got like the Trove Treasure Chest box, which is like the big everything box. And a lot of people picked up a lot of the stuff that you couldn't get previously that wasn't easily available, promos and other things like that. So this one raised almost $4 freaking million, which was insane. That's a lot of money. Usually we're talking with other chip theory games is like in the, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 or $300,000 to $700,000 you range usually. So this one was supposed to be like June 2022. Obviously that has passed. And they're in the process right here in this latest update with October just looming. So this is at the end of September that they've got some of the stuff going to printer or the other stuff is going to be going soon, probably around the time that I'm filming this. So it's not going to be here anytime before the end of the year. You're talking Q1 2023, which take that for what you will. So I've only got to wait that much longer to get my money back. I'm serious. Like, I think this is beautiful. I know why people like it, and I just don't. It just doesn't click with me, and I'm okay with that. So I know I'm just not going to be getting a sword anytime soon. Anyway, sorry, I couldn't not throw that one in there. Yeah, it's not for everybody. And I'm okay with that. Not every game needs to be for everybody. It doesn't stop me from looking at chip theory games as other games in the future or looking at them heavily, like the Elder Scrolls one that's coming up, because you gotta be kidding me that one isn't on your radar like it is with me. But that one got moved to, I think, the beginning of Q1 2023 anyway. So probably because of these issues, because they've been a pretty good job, I think, and don't quote me on that, about getting stuff out before trying to launch new stuff. So there you go. That's Too Many Bones and Breakable. Next up, we got over on Gamefound as well, Lords of Ragnarok. Lords of Ragnarok was another interesting one. This is another one that's going to go on my shelf of shame, right? This was the whole issue that led to me having issues with Gamefound, was that I tried to cancel my pledge. I clicked cancel my pledge on this one and it never canceled my pledge. And so I basically ended up with, by the time I figured out my card got charged and everything else has happened, they either said, well, we're going to take our 10 or 15% or whatever it is, or you can keep it. And I said, well, I'm going to lose like $10, or I can just keep the pledge, pay the shipping, and make a little bit of money on it and just leave the money tied up. And back then, I probably should have just canceled and taken the loss and said, you know what, whatever, it is what it is. But I decided to keep it. So now I'm paying shipping on this and going to hopefully turn it around and resell, which again, I hate doing. I would rather take the loss because it's just a pain. It's a real pain. I don't do that for this style of game. I played the original. I was okay with the original. I didn't think it was great. I don't think it's a top 250 game on Board Game Geek. Although, maybe 500. But it's just not my style as well, the area control. And this was just more complexity in the same sense and more layers. And I read the rule book. I watched some of the playthrough. And that's when I decided to try and cancel it. So beforehand, again, it was probably a 7 or 8. After getting some of that information, I clicked cancel for a reason, right? Like 3, 4. And now I'm going to end up with another copy of another game that I don't want, right? So, I preach that all the time on my crowdfunding roundups. And these are two that I screwed up with. And I feel bad. Like, I'm not worried about like getting my money's back. I'm not worried about the value because, like I said, Chip Theory Games sells it at a discount. I'm going to be able to sell it for more. Awakened Realms core products are always a better deal, and you're always going to make money on them if you resell them. I'm not concerned about that. It's just the whole process of things and the mental side of things. You know, having to put more money into it, having to deal with it. I just don't even want to deal with it, right? Like, that's the problem with this. But anyway, again, you're not here to hear my tales of woe. Where are things at with Lords of Ragnarok? Lords of Ragnarok, 1.6 million euros. Yeah, I mean, again, their miniatures are beautiful. My Etherfields miniatures are absolutely, really, really outstanding. And I don't like dudes on the map. I don't like that terminology. It's area control, folks. Area control battling on a map. There you go. So where are things at? Production update here going, one of the latest updates. Again, September, but they're still hoping that they're going to have it out whenever this update was. This update has it being in Q1 of 2023. So again, that's kind of where it is. They're going to be pausing for Chinese New Year, so you're going to be looking at it in April. And this one was, again, I think this was a June 2022 as well, if I'm looking at the original campaign here. Let's check out of curiosity, because I think that's what it was too. Yeah, so we're talking almost a year overdue, which, frankly speaking, with Awakened Realms is actually pretty good, considering especially some of their Wave 2s on all the other ones have been well over that as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's a game that I kind of wanted to like, but again, I don't think it's a good fit with the group. This is a game that revolves around meta play and multiple play styles from an area control standpoint, with multiple avenues of control and winning scenarios from an asymmetric standpoint and balancing those. And that's not where my group specializes in and thoroughly enjoys, because I think you're also talking a 3-hour game here, and my group specializes in 2 hours and under. So there you go. That's Lords of Ragnarok. Yeah, I know it's not pronounced Ragnarok. Anyway, that's a Liege of Games thing. So what do we got going on now? We have, next up, Marvel Dice Throne. Well, Marvel Dice Throne, do I even need to talk about Marvel Dice Throne too much? It's doing really well. People are really loving it. It's available widely at retail. All of the backers have gotten their battle chests. If you go over to Roxley's website, I can pull up here in a second, you can buy that battle chest that was on crowdfunding in the first place. It's going to cost you a little bit more, just like with, say, Radlands, which was deluxified. And so it's going to cost you just more from that standpoint. I think it's $109 right now on Roxley. So you can still get that battle chest and not have to buy it off the secondary market. I mean, it's Dice Yahtzee with Marvel superheroes. At some point, I want to try it. At some point, I was, talking with the OP Games, which is the company that's actually putting it out at retail, about getting a review copy. And I would like to see if it changes my opinion or my mind on it. And so I've tried to trade for it a few times as well with unsuccessful luck. So I will probably be having a copy in my collection maybe by the end of the year if I can, swing things the right way. But I wouldn't be surprised either side of things, because it's going to eventually end up there. But I can't say for certain if it's going to be yay, nay, somewhere in between. I was really hoping pre-campaign, I was like sort of trepidatious about it. Like, I was a 5, because I was hoping that they'd offer some more complexity, some more nuances. But I mean, it's their tried and true. Everyone says that it's a little bit of a step up compared to the original first 2 seasons, which is good, but it still wasn't like more than what it is. And that was sort of a letdown for me. It just fell flat, and I don't know why. And again, it's one of those games where I'm more than happy to go back to it, because something like Spirit Island, which is one of my favorite games of all time, completely fell flat the first 2 times we played it. Completely, utterly devastated, because I wanted to love that game, and now I do love that game because I gave it a second, a third, and a fourth chance. And that's kind of where Marvel Dice Throne is for me right now, because I do love chucking dice. Dice don't like me, I like them. So, as you've heard me say, I'm an agent of chaos, and so I love that type of game as well. So we'll see where it goes and how I feel about things, but yeah, that's it. So, pull up the website here really quickly for you as well, since I said I was going to. Here's the original crowdfunding campaign. The battle chest here is $84 plus shipping. You go over to Roxley's website, it's $109. You can get it right here. You can scroll down, get this one. And I'm not sure if shipping is free or not with this. Let's check it out. Let's see. Transaction, blah, 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 blah. We don't offer shipping to your location. Yeah, shipping is definitely not going to be free here. Shipping is going to be extra on top of that. So you're looking at, with the shipping and the taxes, $118, probably another, I'm going to guess $20 to get it shipped, knowing how big this thing is. So that's a pretty significant discount that people got for $84 plus shipping. So $84 compared to $118, that's $35 difference. So that's a significant crowdfunding difference. Roxley's other ones like Radlands, like I mentioned previously, haven't been that big, but that's not insignificant. So if you're looking at Roxley in the future, definitely give that one a look-see as well. Now we're starting to get into things that I'm a little bit more familiar with, and hopefully we'll be having on my table a little bit sooner. And this is Kids Table Board Game. This is Power Plants. And again, for a not really engine style game, but a min-max major power versus a bunch of minor powers sort of style of mechanism. I really like that element of things. And Power Plants is the exemplary example of that recently. And the deluxeifications, as well as the recently arrived Fall of the Mountain King, they offered a few little expansions that sort of went along with it that just made the value even more irresistible in terms of just the different plants that you can customize and utilize during the game. I think there's something like 12 different plants that you can customize or choose between, which just offers a ton of replayability, and the price was really good too. So pre-campaign, I was probably only like a 4 or 5, and this is one of those that post-campaign, like I watched Rado's video in terms of like trying to get the sense of the game, and as soon as I saw the video, I didn't even watch more than like 5 minutes. I was like, okay, yep, I'm in. This is my type of game. And so right then and there, right towards the last, I want to say 48 hours of the campaign, I backed it, and I have had no regrets whatsoever. It's probably my most anticipated of this video so far in terms of games. So that should tell you something, especially considering all the other names on this list, right? Let's go check out where things are at, though. So the other divisive thing, I think they had stuff available at like one of the conventions. I think it was even Gen Con. So people actually have been playing this game already. It was not massive. It was only 2,300 backers and just over $100,000 in terms of funding, 133 Canadian there. And the price point, again, was not massive. The retail edition was whatever, but the deluxe edition, which I was talking about, was 55 Canadian, which, again, that's a great price for the amount of content and the amount of game that's going in this as an area control, as well as the, big power, minor power sort of thing. Originally, though, November 2022, which actually, surprisingly, is not going to be too far off. The last update, a couple weeks prior to me filming this, you have here that they got a case, which I'm assuming are going out to all the content creators from a deluxeification standpoint who don't already have a copy. That's why they freighted these in. So I'm assuming that you'll see reviews pop up very shortly of this. But the freight, unfortunately, is going to be leaving Asia soon. So you're talking probably like, I don't know, 3 months still before I'm going to get my copy. Probably around the time of Christmas, if I had to guess. Give or take. So I'm really actually very interested to play this game. I think this is going to suit my wants, my needs, and my desires very well in terms of the group and my own personal tastes, but it's going to be a while still, I think. So all in all, very happy with this one. Very happy with this one, and hopefully just as happy when it actually hits the table. So there's Power Plants. There you go. Next up, we have another one that I've already done a review on. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Paint the Roses. Paint the freaking Roses from North Star Games. I've had this one for a while. It delivered on time. It delivered, I think, maybe even actually a little early. I got the deluxe edition. Not a big fan of the insert. I think the insert is a little superfluous, a little bit more for prettiness rather than actual storage. Like, I'm actually trepidatious now that I'm even picking it up and holding it like this, that half the tiles have all fallen out, and the whole North Star printing our label and our name on the back of every single tile, so when all the tiles are face down, you see it every time. Like, it's just a little gratuitous. It's a good game, though. It's a solid game. I know people haven't liked it because it's a little bit too thinky, or it's a little bit too random in terms of some of that stuff, but it's a hard deduction game. If you want an easy deduction beer and pretzels game, this is not that. But if you want something that's hard, that's going to offer you a significant challenge and make you do this a little bit, yeah, this one is going to be that. And that's okay, because I don't really have anything else like it. And I like the gameplay of it. Now, it's definitely hard because the moving around the track, the queen is really going to catch you fast, and you really have to be aggressive. That's probably the only thing. It's probably a little bit too aggressive from that stance, because you really have to pick some of the harder ones. And if you guys mess up once, it's going to screw things up. So that's probably the biggest mix bag of it, is that messing up is going to completely kill the game completely. And you could go from doing okay to losing the game just like that without a second thought, because of how quickly things will change. And I can see that being a big turnoff for people too. And at times that is a big turnoff for me, which is why it hasn't hit the table as much as I'd probably like it otherwise. Am I going to keep it? That's an interesting question. I don't know. It's got some expansions that I haven't had a chance to utilize, and so I could see myself going very much either way. with it at this point. Because like I said, it doesn't have anything else that I'm similarly playing in my collection. It's not taking up a lot of space. I feel relatively good about it, but at the same time, if somebody offered me a good amount for it, would I consider it? Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see where that's at like a year from now. Because I could see myself easily having it in the collection. I could see it being gone too from that standpoint. So take that for what you will. Another one that I had another hands-on experience was Mythwind. This one was very interesting as well. I was not expecting it to be what it was. You've got sort of an asymmetric Euro-style game with open-ending, not ending game conditions ever. Each with utilizing different mechanisms of the types of workers that they were in the first place to create stuff. It just didn't click with me very well. I saw why people would really like this, right? The open world, the very Zen-like experience of it, the mechanisms themselves that are asymmetric between your person and the other person's, but way too Euro-y for me. Way too Euro-y. The open-endedness just isn't something, I guess, that I am finding that I like as much as, I think I like versus I actually deep down like. And so I'm finding that out about myself and that's why it's nice. And that's why I always tell people, like, go out and just play a bunch of games. Like, my number one advice for someone new in the hobby is don't buy stuff, go play stuff. Because you find out stuff like this that you think you're going to like, you find out that down here it really doesn't quite fit, lock and key. So that was a very interesting test as well. And so I just love doing that. Like, even with these crowdfunding games, I've had a couple that people have been like, well, I'm not sure. Are you sure you want a copy of this to send and talk about? Because this isn't your style of games. Like, I'm like, no, like, I want to talk about these things. I like exposing myself to stuff because I also like exposing other people to, careful there phrasing. I like showing other people games that are necessarily not always the ones that they think, because things like that will sometimes be the ones that you most enjoy. I'm thinking of things like Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. I'm thinking of things like Dune Imperium for me personally. Both games that I did not think I was going to enjoy nearly to the extent, and both of those games are probably in the top 20 of my games all time. Like, those are hefty, hefty words, folks. That cannot be discounted. Getting exposed to new things in terms of mechanisms, themes, incorporations, and just gameplay styles. And so that's why Mythwind, I will not regret trying out any of these games in the first place. So, that's why, as much as I say too many bones, as much as I mentioned Lords of Ragnarok, maybe I'll play Lords of Ragnarok before I try and just turn around and sell it. Because maybe that will change my mind to hands-on play. Who knows? That's sort of exciting, right? That's why I like this hobby. That's why I like talking about these things, because stuff like that is a constant source of amazement in both good ways and bad. But anyway, let's pull up the page and see where Mythwind's at. So Mythwind, here we go. Like I said, persistent, asymmetric, cooperative. I missed the cooperative element in the overview, but 1.3 million Canadian dollars. Again, amazing. One of Brendan's successor games, the other one, The Stars of Ikarios, raising a ton of money too. There's an upcoming one called Stone Saga that's going to be coming out in the lines of sort of this theme, this overall overarching, appealing, open world-esque element. I don't really know. I haven't looked into too much of Stone Saga, so you can tell me in the comment section below how wrong I am. But where are things at right now? Originally supposed to be delivered in December 2022, came with an expansion that you could order as well, and they had painted or miniatures to go along with it. But unfortunately, at the end of September here, a couple weeks prior to me filming this, they still aren't going to production yet. So the pledge manager doesn't have a closure date, so you can still get in if you're one of those people watching this video and going, hey, I didn't even know about that, Chris. Thank you for bringing this to my radar. Yes, you can get in now, but it's not going to be near you anytime soon. If it hasn't gone to production, it's going to take weeks to fill production. It's going to take weeks to get it shipped. It's going to take weeks to get it shipped after the freight has been transported. So you're talking probably more in the lines of something like Lords of Ragnarok, where you're talking sometime early Q2 of 2023, if I had to guess. So pre-campaign, probably a 5 or a 6. Post-campaign, probably a 4. Just because, again, I like the idea sometimes, and I love trying new things out, but it's also fun to find out that, hey, sometimes I don't need to spend the money because this one isn't going to be as good of a fit as I thought. And I'm always okay with that too. So there you go. That's Mythwind. What else we got? So next up we have Hardwood Grove from Final Frontier Games, and this one was sort of a tableau management, action selection, card-based game where you're a bard and you're trying to get as many points as you can. And with a lot of the Final Frontier games, they went with the deluxeified edition, And it was one of those where I had it on my radar and I was like super hyped, but then I saw the price and I saw the content and I saw some of the exclusivity, and I kind of went from like a 6.5, 7 to like a 4. Again, as one of those games where I would love to try it out. It looks like Meeples and Monsters all over again for me, where I'd love to get a copy, I'd love to play a copy, but it's a try before I buy sort of situation, especially just nowadays where time is limited and I want to love a game if I'm going to own it. So from that standpoint, I decided to hold off. Let's kind of go back to the page here and check things out. So it did relatively well, over $250,000. So that's nothing insignificant. And you get a sense of, okay, what are we doing? Evolving gameplay, asymmetry with deck building and songs because you're a bard, right? $79 for the Deluxeified edition. And it's supposed to be August 2022. But the problem that we run into in the latest update just prior to me filming this is that they loaded on Tabletop Simulator, but they're still designing the game. Pledge Manager isn't closed, and there's really no end in sight right now, I would say. If we go back over the previous update, the one from August, they give a little bit more information about when it's going to be fulfilled. And they also just finished the campaign from Merchant's Cove Mastercraft, which they say is not going to interfere with this development at all. But I mean, like I said, this is still in development and it hasn't been sent to localization partners yet. It hasn't been production ready yet from that standpoint. So, you know, yes, you might have the production samples by here, but I wouldn't be surprised if this, again, knowing where the turnaround is with this, if everything is right, then yeah, this will work in terms of early starting the production. But if that anything falls away or runs into trouble, Q1 easily falls into Q2. Q2, you know, the end of Q2. So you could be looking at, instead of, what was this originally, June was the original one? No, August. So August could be, you know, 9 months late, easily. So take that for what you will. And we'll see where it ends up. There's a little expansion, there's a little exclusivity, there's some component upgrades. Again, I would be happy to trade for this to try it out, but right now I'm going to be a little bit, you know, let's see what they can do. Let's see what they can do, but we'll go from there. That is Hardwood Grove. Okay, 2 more. Next one up, Hanamikoji, Geisha's Road, where you could get the original Hanamikoji 2-player game, but you could also get some additional modules for it. Also, as a promo pack, action tiles 1 through 7 as well. And that was sort of the deal, because some of these promos were not easily available previously, and so if you just didn't have them, or if you wanted to get them, you just couldn't get them very easily elsewhere. And this was one of those that I was seriously looking at, because I really like playing 2-player card games with my wife, and I just worry because some of them are hits and some of them are misses right now, and I just can't always tell which ones are going to be which, as weird as that sounds. As many games I've played with her, this style of game, I just look at and I go, I can't tell until it's a hands-on, because I could see her coin flip going either way with it. And so I looked at it and I said, do I really want to buy the base game and the promo tiles and all the new stuff? Because that's essentially what you're going to have to do and even get like a decent value, because I don't think you could necessarily piecemeal it as much. And I couldn't get a copy before the campaign ended to try it out. So here we stand, wondering if I should late pledge, wondering if I should try and get in, or wondering again if this is one of those where I should just try and trade for it after somebody buys it all and decides that they don't like it in place of what I was going to do in the first place. Probably a 5, probably a 6 after, but I could see myself again going either way once I see more hands-on flow and once I could try it out. So that's sort of the, you know, interesting aspect of things. Let's go check out the page. $166,000 for this game, which is incredible, considering the base game is $19, the expansion is $22, and the whole bundle here is $39. And so they had, well, I guess the whole bundle is $59. So that's a little bit more than a 2-player game that I was willing to bet on whether or not my wife would like it. When you go over to the latest update here, a couple weeks prior to me filming this, that they have the collector's bookcase. They were bringing some to Essen. Asian backers were getting them shipped to them already for air shipping. And, you know, it's going to be, you know, hopefully going on in the near future. Essen pre-orders were available from both the TBD website as well as the Emperor S4. So take that for what you will. The rest of them, I'm assuming, are going to be shipping out shortly after that. Going back over the previous update, the Asian backers get them sooner, but the everything non via air, September, October, all ocean pledges, October as well. So it looks like everything's done. So if you were one of those backers, you'll easily have it maybe by the time Halloween hits, probably more like easily by Thanksgiving, just knowing how things go, especially with some of the ocean freight and shipping nowadays. But that's kind of cool. That means I might be able to pick myself up a copy before the end of the year if I decide to go secondary market, because that's what this one's heavily looking like for me right now. There you go. Hanamikoji. with the expansion. Now, we're going to go to the last one here. This is one, again, that I had a hands-on experience with. This is Megapulse. Megapulse was basically F-Zero, the board game, right? And I talked about it, I played it, had some unique elements, had some nice elements, but it was way too expansive. Way too trying to do everything all at once, right? They had like 30 different courses that they were trying to do with like 7 different modes of a game. And I said, you know what? You got to scale back. You got to scale back, you know, because this is way too massive of a project. This is way too, you know, trying to encompass everything. Sometimes less is more. And I'm going to pull up the page because that's where we're going with this, right? This is Megapulse, raised almost 60,000 Canadian dollars. Again, not bad. Orion Games, first time making something. Mario Kart meets F-Zero, very cool aesthetic. The prototype was fine. It was a prototype. Everything that you need to see there. But the problem that we're going to get to here is the base game and the delivery date is April 2023. No big deal, right? April 2023, that's a long ways off still. The latest update, though, is back in, well, you're about to see it, right? The latest update here is June. June. The latest update is June. So we are talking 4 months, essentially, without an update. And not a whole lot in the comment section. There was one comment in the comment section apologizing. And then there was another comment 2 weeks ago saying they're trying to get an update out with some pictures. And this is a small developer, you know, with a full-time job. And so that's the issue nowadays, is what is this going to do and where is this going to end up? And is it going to end up fulfilling? I'm not going to say it's not. I have no reason to believe that, but it's not going to be anytime April 2023, especially if they offer half of what they were wanted to offer with it in the first place. And you don't see cuts or reductions from that standpoint, because the other thing that you don't see in any of this is, you know, production, right? No talks of production, no talks of completed product, no talks of anything in that regard. So here's the comment section. Again, it's one of those where if you had this by the end of 2023, I think you'd feel probably pretty good at this point. They have a Discord server, so if you're one of those people, check it out. But I'd also say, okay, forget about this one, and if you get something later, call it a win. But this is also the risk with some of these smaller ones. It wasn't a bad concept. The execution needed some work. The scaling needed some work. But this is why it's trouble too, because you can never tell which one of these is going to run into issues. For every one of these, you have a company like Nemesis Games doing Uprising, which does the complete opposite. So that's the problem sometimes with crowdfunding with some of this stuff. So there you go. That's the October 2021, 2022 look back. A little bit of everything else in between. A little bit of stuff I really wasn't as pleased to talk about. But, you know, you get the insights, you get the good, you get the bad, you get everything else in between. So that's what you get here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for clicking. That's all I got. See you around. Stay classy. Have a great day. Woo. You think we're going to break 7,000 subscribers by the end of the year? I don't. Things have been really slow lately. I was really hoping 10 by the end of the year, but, you know, it is what it is. It's all good. It's all good. That's why you tune into the end of the video. I got nothing else. I'm done. Peace out.